Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Yeah, that's right. Strick and Austin. We traded places, though. I'm back at 1040 O Street, and my partner said, "No, I'm good." Stricky, I was looking forward to seeing you, my guy. How you doing?
Well. There he is. Austin Powers. What's going on, my guy? How are you? I'm doing good. I'm just packing. I'm just getting myself in order. Got a business trip I've got to take. And other than that, it's good to see you, man. I just hate that I'm not in studio to be there with you. To see the walk of shame when you made your way back into the studio today. But I do have a shout out though. No walk of shame.
Yeah. What's your shout out? Then I'll tell you why there's no walk of shame. What's your shout out?
You see the shirt.
Hey,
to my guy Bob Haney. Shout out to Bob Haney and Heavenly Waffles representing them today. Doing big things, man. So just proud to have watched that company continue to grow and thrive. Shout out to Bob Haney, man. But maybe not Bobby Witt Jr.
You're going to be that way? I thought I converted you to the Bobby Witt Jr. side. Well, what happened?
I am.
Jr. anymore?
No. So for me, mostly what it comes down to, Austin Powers, is it's like this. To me, the Kansas City situation looks very similar to what the Huskers looked like last year. On the doorstep, peeking in, looking at the bowl, looking at the ACLS, man, that looks like that's a fun party over there. And just can't open the door to walk through it and get in the party. Am I wrong, or am I kind of in the vein? Did I kind of like, when you go into the doctor's office and you got to get blood, you got to get the vein. You want to, in order to get something drawn out, you got to be in the vein. Am I in the vein on that one, or what am I looking like?
You're hit and miss. You're a little shaky, but not bad, Stricky. When I saw Bobby Witt Jr. hanging out in the dugout after the game celebrating, it really reminded me of the infamous Stephon Diggs picture when the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl and Diggs is just standing there on the field, looking up at the celebration and in the Jumbotron and everything like that. It was so close and yet so far. Over the 3 games that the Yankees won, they outscored the Royals by a total of 4 runs, 2 1-run wins, and then a 2-run win last night. And part of that is because Bobby Witt Jr. wasn't at his best. Strick, he only had 3 hits in the entire series, and they all came in the last couple of days. It was a couple of, or just singles, as I believe, that all Bobby Witt Jr. ended up hitting on the series. It took him a while to even reach base. He drew a walk to get on base for the first time in the series 2 nights ago now. So when I think about that image of Bobby Witt Jr., it's a 24-year-old who became the first shortstop in modern Major League history to go 30 for 30. Has gone 20-20 all 3 years of his career, and he says he feel like he lets Kansas City down. Well, this is the same Bobby Witt Jr. who's making history, who's a top 5 player in the sport at least this year. Still plenty to prove, but he played 167 games. Only sat out 1 game. It was, I think, the second to last game of the year. I thought he represented Kansas City really well. I mean, showed up and got second at the home run derby over All-Star weekend. It was a tough series for Bobby Witt Jr. Even against Baltimore, he had a couple hits. Both those hits ended up driving in the eventual game-winning and go-ahead runs. it's hard for me to want to put, this loss and everything, the series loss on Bobby Witt Jr. specifically, because Vinny Pasquantino wasn't much better. One hit, it led to the Royals' one run yesterday. Salvador Perez, not great. Plenty of other, missed opportunities. MJ Melendez fly out to the warning track. Kyle Isbell fly out to the warning track. And Strick, the Royals walked, I believe, 24 batters. Their pitching staff walked 24 batters in just 4 games. That's no way to make a living. So it hurts right now. It really does. Rico was prancing around. If you thought I was doing the walk of shame, Rico was doing that. Who did you post that for? The Memphis and Florida State game with the guy dancing in the door. You remember that one?
Yeah.
That was essentially Rico this morning.
When I come through.
That was Rico all last night, taking victory laps, dancing on my grave and everything. And okay, Rico, you can have that. It stings. It hurts as a fan. But then I have to take a step back, Strick. This is a team that only won 56 games last year, which means they lost 106 games last year. A 30-game improvement in just the regular season. They won in the wild card round. It wasn't pretty. And I think the biggest what-if moment doesn't have anything to do with Bobby Witt Jr. It has to do with Vinny Pasquantino. This was a league average or slightly above offense at the time that Vinny Pasquantino went down with his thumb injury in Houston as part of the Royals' 7-game losing streak. From, I think it was that point on, or maybe it was a week or two later with Vinny Pasquantino not in the lineup, the Royals' slugging percentage, not batting average, not on base percentage, but slugging percentage was .247, which is really bad. Average is somewhere closer to, 300, 350, even up to 400 for some of the more power hitting teams in baseball. They were punchless. The Royals were punchless over the last really month and a half of the year, but that doesn't take away from just how magical of a run it was to get to the playoffs and to win a series, at least for me.
Well, one of the things I think that I was really worried about when I saw them in the wild card series was the pitching, especially late. And what's crazy is they were doing a lot of the things that you happen to see down there. 24 batters walk. They put themselves in a very precarious situation in which they were able to overcome it, but it was really shaky. And so when I see them get ahead and they split with New York coming back home, I was hoping for them. I actually was rooting for you. You know what I mean? Like I was rooting for them and I was rooting for you. Because you're such a big fan. But let's get off of that part. Forgive my voice. I happened to be at the Ludacris concert last night.
Ooh,
and he's got a tremendous catalog. And I was singing some of the songs that we was going in. Me, Cluster, and Civo. We happened to go and just
you were up
check
on
it
stage
out.
with Luda?
No, we didn't go on stage. But we had really good seats. We were right there. It was actually a really good show. Them and the Yin Yang Twins actually came. Really wasn't promoted a lot because I kind of found about it just low key, and we decided to go. But now, so forgive my voice; it's shaky. But when I look at this team, though, it's an experience, right? You've got to figure that it was something that they will learn from this experience. You hope, and you hope that they'll address some of the areas that they felt maybe they could have done better. Maybe find some other pitcher, maybe not necessarily a problem with starting pitching, maybe middle inning pitchers or. What do you feel about their save? Their late inning guys. I mean, what do you feel about the pitching at this point?
Pitching was what keyed the turnaround. The Royal starters were bottom 5 in the majors in pretty much every major category last year, and they addressed that remarkably this year. I mean, you got another ace-level year out of Cole Reagans. Is his first season. He blew past his previous innings high, and he looked like an ace outside of maybe 2 or 3 starts, and every pitcher has those blow-ups. Seth Lugo, career reliever, finishes, I believe, second in the majors in innings pitched in his first year as a starter. That's pretty incredible. He was, pretty high up behind Tarek Skubal and AL Cy Young, leaderboards throughout the year. You got a pretty good season from Michael Wacha as well. Wacha missed some time got injured down in Texas, I believe it was, bounced back pretty quickly, and was just workmanlike. He was a pretty dependable number 3, number 4 starter. You got good Brady Singer this year for the most part, which is a good bounce back for him. And really the revelation of the first couple months was Alec Marsh, the 5th starter, who, gave like 2 months of just stupefyingly, dizzyingly incredible results before he didn't adjust to the league. They adjusted to him. He got sent back to Omaha. But then you see the Royals go out and you trade for Michael Lorenzen, who wasn't great in the postseason, but he's a winner. He's been there, done that before. He gave him some pretty good innings after the trade deadline. And what they did with the bullpen, Strick, it was one of the major's worst bullpens to start the year. They tried to add to that in free agency, but Will Smith looked like he was pretty washed up. Chris Stratton never had it. Nick Anderson never really had it. But by the end of the year, really after the trade deadline, the bullpen was a legit strength for the Royals. They trade for Lucas Erceg, who became their closer. He gave up a couple runs late in the New York series, a solo home run to Jazz Chisholm that made it a 4-2 game, and then another run yesterday. But Lucas Erceg is the least of my concerns. You get Chris Bubich back from Tommy John surgery, which was a huge addition to the bullpen, right? That's a guy that was a starter, was off to a really good start 2 seasons ago now when he blew out his elbow in San Francisco. He came out, was a high leverage weapon. He did allow the ultimate game-winning home run to Giancarlo Stanton in Game 3 of the series, but it's one of those, Strick, that, sometimes it's a results-oriented business, right? The Yankees won and the Royals lost. But the type of pitch that Bubich threw, where he threw it, Giancarlo Stanton was like 53 for 751 on similar pitches in his career, and he just timed that one up. You got behind 3-1 in the count. You make a decent pitch, but not a perfect pitch, and he makes you pay for it. Sam Long, revelation. Hunter Harvey traded for, was okay before he went down. John Schreiber, ground ball specialist, pretty much did his job. Angel Zerpa, that's a middle inning type of guy that got pushed into a relief role. He was touching 98 after maxing out at 93 for the last couple of years. Even a guy like Daniel Lynch, who spent most of the year in Omaha, really, blossomed as a reliever in his time in Kansas City. He had, I think, 16 or 17 straight scoreless appearances for the Royals since he was recalled from Omaha. So, yeah, the pitching, it faltered down the stretch, especially with command. That's something the Royals talked about over the offseason, was having to get back into the strike zone. The Yankees threw about 2/3 of their pitches for strikes. The Royals were just under 60% for the series. And then when you get behind in counts, you're facing hitters like Soto, like Judge, like Giancarlo Stanton, 2, 3, and 5 in the lineup. Those guys are going to come through, more often than not compared to the relative league average for major league hitters. So, yeah, the pitching wasn't perfect. I'm not too concerned. For me, it's got to be the offense is where the improvements lie next season, though.
Well, lastly, on the topic, I mean, congratulations to the Kansas City Royals, even getting this far. Like you said, it was an unexpected run, but especially with everything that's going on, they're trying to obviously upgrade stadiums, both for the Chiefs and for the Royals. I'm sure it made the discussion a little bit easier as far as for that. It still hasn't been completed, still not finalized, but they're, it helps if you're generating these types of buzz. You hope that you wish that they could have made a little deeper run, which, especially with Kansas City starting off 5-0 this year, the Chiefs, you would have hoped that they could have went a little bit deeper, maybe had the discussion become a little bit easier and better. But nonetheless, the question then becomes, Austin, for you being such a big fan, being credentialed, what's that experience like to have been in the stadium in this, this highly anticipated playoff run against one of the premier organizations in the world, and definitely in Major League Baseball in the country, which is the New York Yankees, and to see that up close and personal? Like, what was that experience for you? And did you get to hang out with anybody down there? Did you get to see Nick Sainert, or did you get to see the old school guys that was there, that have been around the ticket, or, anything like that?
Yeah, yesterday, Nick and Nate Brennan were at the game, so I caught up with them for a few minutes ahead of Game 4. One of my buddies who works for the Kansas City Current, the women's soccer league team, he was at the game, so caught up with him. Strick, I don't have very many pinch me moments, at least not, so far in my career. This was a legitimate, pinch me moment for me, right? I mean, yeah, I'm a Husker to my core. Huskers will probably always come first for me, but like the Royals, man, they're the deepest seated kind of professional sports team that I root for. Nothing against the Colts. I'm kind of bummed I have to actually, legitimately tap in and pay attention to a, miserable Colts season so far. But, young Austin always wanted to be on the field at Kauffman Stadium, and that dream came true. Not how I would have imagined it when I was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. But, I get down there on Wednesday. I'm on the field just trying to find my way. And who walks past me but General Manager JJ Picola gives me a little head nod, says, "Hey, how's it going?" Whoa. What? I just said hi to JJ Picola. Are you kidding me? That's pretty cool. Yeah. Met a lot of great media personalities down there. Was about to say hi to Tim Kirkjian before he got called away to do an ESPN hit. But just, being there on the dirt, did set foot on the grass a little bit. And even, it's just a little thing, Strick, but the Yankees are taking some infield practice when I get there on Wednesday. One of the players throws a ball away. It bounces literally right to me. I've never set foot on an MLB field before. And I'm just hanging out before the game, and boom, here's a perfect souvenir to pair with the credentials. So no, it was absolutely incredible. Fantastic people in the Royals organization. Appreciate the ticket for letting me go. The Royals for getting it set up. And Stricky, I got to shout out the family, right? I mean, the grandmas came through babysitting for me. Cannot thank them enough. Wifey was off to work, but she held the house down. Little Beckett was a trooper. He was a champ. It was nice to spend some time with him this morning before coming in. So unfortunate end to the Royals season, but it was an incredible experience, an incredible trip, and I'm grateful to my core. I'm grateful.
Well, we're glad you made it home safe, man, and back to the block. And I've got to say that Harrison held it down for you as well, and so did Ellie. Ellie did phenomenal in your absence. Didn't really need you. Put all of the commercials and the legal IDs in place, and so it was a smooth run. We missed you for Thirsty Thursday. I did share. I was a little bit easier to share. I did.
What Uncle Kev bring?
Uncle Kev brought a nice ride called I want to say Prunty, something like that. I got it in there. Good smooth red. It was one of the. It was a premium red, but it was close to about $30 a bottle, $28. And then he brought like a pumpkin spiced ale beer, which was really good. So he came through. Uncle Kevin showed up, man, and he came through. He also brought me I had asked him for a bottle of gin. And so he brought me a bottle of gin as well, just to try out a nice premium indigo gin. So yeah, man, Uncle Kev came through once again.
As he does. Ellie's probably wildly disappointed by the red, but hey, you know what? She'll learn to love it eventually. Or maybe
she actually stepped out. She had to step out. It was funny because she had the bitter beer face. She had the bitter beer face in the beer, but she was a soldier.
No, I was like, no, I'm not gonna waste a perfectly good wine on somebody that's not gonna want it. So I nicely passed it off.
Whatever. Next time. There's absolutely no document. Stricky, how are you though? How would people grade your performance? Were you 10 toes down, or were you shaky the last couple days?
No, I was 10 toes down, and like I said, my voice was a little bit better because I wasn't, yelling songs and stuff like that. But yeah, we had a great run and a great rundown. We had some great topics. We definitely discussed some of the things. Hey, and so what I did also do, Austin, is I created a segment for Thursdays. You want to know about it?
You're playing beer pong on Thursdays without me, apparently.
Thirsty Thursday topic pong. Can you believe it? We gotta get Nick Sainer. We gotta get Nick Sainer to go out there and sell a Thirsty Thursday topic pong. But it was just a hodgepodge. It was a hodgepodge of just great topics and interesting, things that was going on in that instance. And obviously we gave, our thoughts and prayers to what was going on with Hurricane Milton out in Tampa, talking about the Tropicana field and just what are some of the worst fields that are out there. I mean, as we finish up this segment, I mean, we're close before going to break. That's one thing that we definitely talked about. Obviously, we're going to get into one of the topics a little bit deeper about, we talked about college football games to watch over the weekend, the importance of this newly formed matchup in the Big Ten. That is going to be a big, big test for Ohio State. And that's something that we're definitely getting in. But we kind of touched on it. Some of the games that people wanted to watch, the Sauterheimer text line was on fire. People chimed in. We had a really good time, man. So Stricky was able to hold it down, man, and take care of things.
I'm not surprised. Before we go to break, Strick, we got this question from Thomas and Lincoln that I don't know if it deserves its own segment or not, but we got a couple minutes here. He says, I'm curious. I know supporting cast comes in to play with this. So based on raw talent alone, is Dylan Raiola a better generational quarterback prospect than Peyton Manning? What say you?
You got a long way to go to say that. Peyton Manning definitely was special all the way across the board. I would say that what's impressive about Dylan Raiola is his poise. And one of the things that you saw early on with Peyton Manning.
He means Arch Manning. Sorry, not Peyton. Is Dylan Raiola a better generational quarterback prospect than Arch Manning? Thanks for clarifying, Thomas.
Well, Arch definitely comes from a legacy of history, right? And that's something that we talked about too, is what players and their father-son combination, how tough it is to exceed what your father had did. Because we're talking about Bronny and LeBron, this whole thing of playing together and what that looks like. But what Peyton was able to do with his father and with the legacy, and then being the older brother to start that whole thing, we all know that Peyton's definitely better than Eli. I mean, some people would disagree with that.
Peyton's the middle, right?
He had the older brother. The older brother Cooper, and they say Cooper was the best, actually, the most athletic. Let me say that, not necessarily the best. They say he was the most athletic, but injury kind of shelved his career. You're right. But Arch has something that most of them don't, and it's probably because he got it from the athletic brother,
from his namesake.
Which is speed and athleticism and a tremendous arm. But Dylan doesn't have the same pressure, but he has a legacy pressure that comes with being a Husker, with what his father did here. So that's a kind of a tie, but I can't say that Dylan has more pressure than probably what Arch has as far as legacy wise.
Right. I mean, for Dylan Raiola, a lot of the legacy pressure is local, if not all of it, right? For Arch Manning, that's a whole, football royalty family legacy to live up to. And he did. I mean, he's wearing orange like, his uncle Peyton did, going to school that starts with T, but it's not the same one. So that's why I really like that for Arch, is that, yes, he has a legacy to uphold, a national brand to uphold, right, as he's the next in line. But I think he's doing a good job, Strick, by trying to control the narrative for himself as best he can, right? He didn't give in to pressure to, follow Uncle Peyton to Tennessee, or, Dad, Uncle Eli, and Grandpa Archie to Ole Miss. He went to Texas, right? That's a burgeoning power. Yeah. Sarkisian's been okay with quarterbacks. There's a lot of talent around there. So I think that Arch Manning has handled everything with aplomb. I think he's passed with flying colors so far. And I'm not going to get into the talent question, right? I'm not a quarterback evaluator. I would love to side with Dylan Raiola. I just don't know enough about how to evaluate these quarterbacks, how they play, separate, their play from the context that they're in. Arch Manning's weapons from Dylan Raiola's weapons and whatnot. They're both really good. Arch is a year older, so he, should be a year better than Dylan Raiola is. It's an interesting question, but it's one that I don't think we will necessarily be able to answer till we see a full year of both of these players on the field, if not a couple years. Is that fair?
Yeah, I agree. I think time will tell. It'll definitely tell. I honestly say that Dylan has the potential of more upside. You know what I mean? Like,
this is a pure pass
ceiling. Yeah, his ceiling of potential is is more because he doesn't have, you're not going to hear them say, oh, they're not going to ever compare Dylan. They're different, right? But you got a whole household of Mannings that you're going to always be comparing to. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the Jordans and Jeffrey and the others. I can't remember the other son's name, but the other sons of Michael, if they had ascended, the comparisons would always be, they could never measure up. And that's what he's going to have to deal with. And I think this is why I think the runway of potential and level of ability to reach greater heights is there for Dylan Raiola more so than for Arch Manning, because you're just going to say, well, it's expected, more so for Arch than you're going to say for Dylan.
I'm with you. Let's go to break here. Let's keep the college football conversation rolling. I was reading a piece, Strick, about the SEC and the Big Ten meeting in Nashville, and the numbers for the financials are going to get kind of crazy. There's going to be a bigger share going to the SEC and to the Big Ten than to the other conferences. We assumed this was going to happen. We now know it's going to happen starting in 2026. Is it the right financial move for college football to give money, more money to the Big Ten and the SEC? What are some other potential options if it is the professionalization of college sports? What are the models that some professional teams follow? We will also talk about Caitlin Clark, 1 vote shy from unanimity in WNBA Rookie of the Year, and then a full college football weekend preview focusing on Oregon and Ohio State. Big one this weekend in the Big Ten. 402-464-5685 if you've got any thoughts. Big thanks to Thomas and Lincoln, David from Renew for chiming in already on our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line. Comment section brought to you by Sartor Heyman Jewelers, open as well. College football financial talk on the other side. Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mixed Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com. Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
Davis Plumbing has been in business for over 15 years and is currently searching for journeyman plumbers to join their team. Experience is preferred, but not required for all applicants. When you join the team at Davis Plumbing, you'll receive full benefits package with paid time off. Join a small local business doing big things in Lincoln and surrounding areas. Apply today by calling 402-525-6922 or find them on social media. Davis Plumbing, locally owned and operated for over 15 years.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at PAHLincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Midwest Bank is proud to be your local community bank right here in Lincoln. This is Travis with Midwest Bank, now with 2 branches conveniently serving Lincoln and 8 other locations across Nebraska. We're here to help you with any of your needs. From opening a checking account to buying a home or financing your business, our staff is here for you. Stop in and you might see Shin Daddy himself. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Learn more at midwest.bank, member FDIC.
If you're not advertising your business on your vehicle, you're missing out on a lot of potential clients, and it's time to change that. Automotive Solutions excels in vinyl wraps and company IDs. They offer BG services with free warranties available, and they service all cars and diesel trucks too. They also service fleets, and if you push snow in the winter, get ahead now with your vehicles. Don't forget, ticket listeners receive a service discount on preventative maintenance. Call Automotive Solutions for an appointment at 531-249-5600 and stop by at 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies and light winds and warm temperatures with a high around 90. Tonight, cloudy skies, the low around 55. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies and light winds, and the afternoon high around 84. Our meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier Kawasaki dealership. Score big on Kawasaki's most dependable side-by-side, the Mule Pro, built to take on your most demanding days. Rule the streets on an Indian motorcycle with customer cash and trade-in credits up to $2,000 during the month of October. On or off-road, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered with large selection of motorcycles and side-by-sides in stock at their new 27th and I-80 location. Stop by every Saturday for their Husker tailgate with free food, drinks, and games.
Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great sides like mac and cheese, cheesy potatoes, barbecue beans, or red slaw. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the block, 402-464-5685 if you've got any thoughts. Austin, Ellie in studio. Strick getting ready to hit the road at some point in the near future. Stricky, we're turning our attention, keeping it, I guess, at college football. There's a piece from The Athletic again about kind of the future of the college football playoff, what the Big Ten and the SEC are meeting about. And there was a really interesting paragraph in there that stood out to me. Here's that paragraph real quick. That all can change beginning in 2026 when the college football playoff revenue structure favors both the Big Ten and the SEC. Both leagues will receive about 29% annually, around $21 million per school. The other leagues earn smaller shares, 17% for the ACC, which is about $13 million, 15% for the Big 12, $12 million, and 9% for the group of 5 conferences collectively, which is about $1.8 million per school. We know that the Big Ten and the SEC are ahead of the pack right now. We know that they want to stay that way. ACC and Big 12, not much separating them at all, kind of in the middle. But there's a huge gap there, Strick, for the Big 12, the lowest of the Power 4 conferences at $12 million. The Group of 5 conference schools will get 1/6 of what any Big 12 school will get. We knew the numbers were going to be stark. We knew they were going to end up favoring the Big 10 in the SEC. So I guess my first question for you, is this a sustainable model for the college football playoff to pour 58% of revenue into 2 leagues in the Big 10 and the SEC?
So for me, I think it could be 2 things. And I think it could be a means by which to promote the shift towards the model, the divisions model that we talked about and looked at. Because I think there's a way to distribute things by way of that model. You see what I'm saying? By the regional model, Midwest, Southeast, Texas, and whoever comes out. And then there's a way, if you can structure it by way of the playoff system or bowl system or whatever they go with, I think there's a way to have a fair distribution that way. And then those who are left out can't. The way that it's set up right now, I'm gonna agree and say you didn't really make a statement or a point, but I'm gonna say that I don't think it's sustainable. But I can understand a little bit as to why they're going there. Because to me, it seems like they're looking at a media model, meaning viewership, interest, travel, all of those things as to why the TV deals are the way they are with the Big Ten and the SEC. And so it's kind of like it's flowing within that, the construct of that, but with a push to get to, I think, that divisions model. You understand what I'm saying? And the reason I say that is because that model that you just presented, it doesn't seem like there's a way out of the bottom. There's not a way to get out of the dungeon. It's like you're in the dungeon and the keys are thrown away and there's no way for you to talk to anybody. You don't have lawyer access. You're just stuck in the dungeon. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's no way to get out.
No, and that's just the thing, is that's what the SEC and the Big Ten want. They want to maintain their dominance and their power, right? Yeah. So it makes sense that that's the way they would set it up. Maybe, 1.8 million or close to 2 million for the estimated figures. Maybe that means more to some Group of 5 schools than another 12 million does for a Big 12 school, for example. But it's still just perpetuating that gap. And to one degree, it's fair, right? Because the SEC, the Big 10, ACC, Big 12 will be bringing in, bigger audiences. Sure, there's a legitimate argument that it says, yeah, they should earn some more money. But that is a stark difference. 10.5 times as much revenue on a per school basis for the SEC and the Big 10 against any Group of 5 school. I mean, a 7.5 times difference, a 6.5 to 6 times difference from the ACC and the Big 12 for these Group of 5 schools. That's insane, right? And this doesn't even factor in the Pac-12 that may or may not, be getting back together. We'll see what happens with the Mountain West right there. But another model I think might work, Strick. The Big 10 and the SEC wouldn't like it, but I wonder if there's a model that would be more similar to like NCAA men's basketball, where, each game that a team from a conference plays counts as one unit, is how they term it. So now there's 132 games before the championship game. That's 132 quote unquote units. And for each unit that a conference or that a school earns, that essentially goes to the conference. So this article from 2023 is here. The SEC got 8 bids, played 17 total games amongst those 8 bids, which means that they get $34 million. That same year, the Big 10 got 8 teams in as well. They only played 14 games, earned 14 units, so they get $28 million. Could the college football playoff payout structure be the same there, where if your team, a team from your conference plays a game, you get a unit at the end of the college football playoff. you tally up the units. This is how many SEC games were played, how many Big Ten games were played, ACC, Big 12, Group of Five, whatever, and distribute, the money through the unit system like the men's basketball and women's basketball tournaments do.
I mean, I think it's something. I think it's a model. I mean, as I look on the stream, thanks to Jim Philippi, forgive me if I said it wrong. But there's multiple things, and I think some of the things that he's presenting on the stream, on the YouTube stream, I think some of the things that he's presenting, like this one, for example, to designate a percentage of revenue sharing by way of academic performance. I think not necessarily that within the pool structure. I think that is like bonus. I think it's an incentive bonus. I think that's something like that could be a way by which you can take some of those, like the ACC or who probably have a stronger academic, way of approach with your Wake Forest and your Dukes and the likes of them. Even now, when you're adding in Stanford and some of the West Coast, California, so also, and so when you look at that, I think that's a way to give them a bonus, because then now you're just looking to incentivize. So then it would also check whether or not you're serious about this still being an amateur sport. It's still about the education. It's still about the school. It's still about the graduation rates. Or is it really just a precursor to professionalism?
That professionalism is a key word, because you also have to look at the major, professional sports, right? I don't think that the NFL model is going to work. That is 32 owners that are all bought into the league, and they do what's best for the shield. There are just so many competing agendas in college sports. You're not going to get 134 college presidents or chancellors or whatever to agree on something. They're not going to want to, come together as one unit, one conglomerate, pile their rights together, distribute that money evenly. So the NFL model, I think, is out the door. The NBA model, maybe there's something to it, but how many, college teams are going to have their own local network in there to televise games? Probably not a lot of them. I think the NBA model is out, and even the MLB model with revenue sharing, right? There's national deals, there's local deals, but then Strick, the big money teams pay into a system. The lower revenue teams get paid from the system, because every team puts in 48% of its local revenues into a pot, and then that's all distributed evenly. So there's an example here from another Athletic article talking about Major League Baseball's national streaming deal. So in 2022, the Yankees received an estimated $143 million as a rights fee. The Colorado Rockies got $57 million. There's an argument to where you say, yeah, the Yankees should be able to capitalize and profit off of that. Good for them, right? They're in a big market. They're taking advantage of it. Good for them. Okay, Rockies, you want more money? Figure out a way to get good, right? You got to do more with less, and then you start being able to do more with more. And I certainly understand all of those arguments. But right below those numbers in this piece from The Athletic, Sam Kennedy, president of the Boston Red Sox, right? Big market, big name team, provided a quote during spring training. He says, "Everything is on the table for the future because it's so unknown." Talking about Major League Baseball, guess what? I think that could apply to college football as well. Here's this. Look, there's always issues that come up where large market teams, Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, Penn State, USC, whoever, have a different view than the small market teams. Vandy, Northwestern, Rutgers, Mississippi State, the list goes on. Here's the key sentence to me. In the end, the greater good of the industry is what we have to also focus on. I'm not saying, tax the rich to give to the poor, right? If you're able to bring in more, just like NIL, right? If you can earn more in NIL, absolutely take advantage of it, capitalize on it. That's kind of the point. But I think leaving Group of Five schools at a, 10 and a half times less payout, or even a 6 or 7 times less payout, is not healthy for the future of the sport. When we see Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame, when we see Vanderbilt get a crack at Alabama and take them down, now Vandy and Alabama would be receiving the same payout. I get it. We'll see where Notre Dame would fit in there. But that is just such a huge, almost unconscionable gap, right? I'm okay if you tell me that the bigger schools are going to make more, but 10.5 times more, even 6 times more, that strikes me as a little bit ridiculous, and I think should probably be amended sooner than later, like Sam Kennedy said, for the growth of the sport.
My issue then becomes, what's the solution? Like, again, I don't see a solution other than maybe the divisions model.
Yeah.
That's really, I'm thinking in my head and I'm listening to everything because I like I said, it doesn't seem like there's a way out of the dungeon for the Power Five or you know, or group of five schools. I don't see a way out. So the only way is to put them in a competitive model. It forces those to become better. And it can also knock out some of those teams that happen to find themselves in a normal SEC, but they're not good enough. So how are they beneficiaries of that monetary blessing? You know what I mean? And still are terrible, but I still think it's a way for them to bonus, because like a Vanderbilt with their academic side of themselves, if they raise their academic bars, they're gonna get some bonuses. So they can actually make out better than some of their SEC components. It's either you've got to force them, you've got to force the SEC, and you've got to force the Big Ten to get off of their high horse and start to understand that this power structure has, you have to come off of this, because if you add things like academics and stuff into it, there's other teams that may not be better than you on the field, but they can actually surpass you by way of monetary means, and then they can apply that to making themselves better. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know any other method or any other way in which this can happen other than the divisions model.
And I think in the divisions model, you would go to more of that centralized sort of distribution center, right? Where everyone pools their rights, because in the NFL, I think you do still get games between, like the Cardinals and the Jaguars or whatever, right? Those aren't big money games, but you pay more than you want to for those. So you can pay market value for, your Chiefs Bills or your Ravens 49ers or whatever matchup you have there. I think if college football does go to the divisional model, that is probably how it works. And then what you earn on top of that is ticket sales. How big is your stadium? How many butts are you getting in seats? How much merchandise are you selling? Local advertisement. So there are ways to go about it, but I do think you're onto something, that the divisional model will eventually be the way, and is probably going to, have to be what saves college football from completely and entirely devouring it. At the very least, the lower parts of the group of Power 4 schools, and maybe even the group of 5 itself.
It's kind of like a bully, right? It's kind of like right now. It's like right now, it's a monopoly. Like the big conferences right now, it seems like it's a monopoly, and the only ways the little guys can fight is to come up. So you can either expose them by proposing methods like what I just said, and then they're going to look at it and be like, oh no. If they start pushing back, then you're going to expose the monopoly, and then you can attack it, because you're saying, wait, what's so wrong? What's so wrong with that? Like, there's nothing really wrong with that. What's wrong in the division? You can force and start to push the thought leaders in these ideals towards that divisional model, because ultimately I think that's going to be equality amongst the teams, and it gives others a way to fight their way in, and they're going to have to engage. Sometimes it's going to be fighting by way of education. I still think those are ways to give bonuses to these structures. Is by their, you got to figure out to keep it educational, or you got to figure out to keep it amateur. You got to figure out, like, if you're going to go professional, then you're no longer playing in the same game that you're in right now. So I don't know other than that, man. That's the way I view it, though.
And you bring up the word monopoly, which is a good time to point out that Major League Baseball is the only major sports league that has an antitrust exemption. Maybe that's where some of these smaller schools find an advantage, is by arguing, that the Big Ten and the SEC are creating a non-competitive monopoly. And that's how you get it broken up. It's how you get the division model. I don't know. There's plenty to play out. We do have to get to a break. We'll have a short segment to wrap up the first hour. Caitlin Clark, 1 vote away from being unanimous Rookie of the Year in the WNBA. We'll talk about that to round up hour 1 of On the Block.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a 1-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies and light winds and warm temperatures with a high around 90. Tonight, cloudy skies, a low around 55. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies and light winds, and the afternoon high around 84. Meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Hey guys, it's Nick. Join me and Jay Foreman this Friday at 8 p.m. from Seacrest Field as Grand Island takes on Lincoln North Star. The Gators are 4-2 on the year and led by head coach James Thompson, while the Islanders are still searching for their first win of 2024. Kickoff is slated for 8 p.m. with pregame coverage starting at 7:45 p.m. It's the Islanders and the Gators this Friday on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, Nebraska football fans, it's defensive lineman Ty Robinson, and I've got a winning play for you with Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Team up with Action and install a new Bradford white water heater in your home. And if we win the conference championship this season, you'll get a full refund. Don't fumble this opportunity. Sack your old water heater this season and score big with Action. Visit actionlincoln.com/Huskers to learn more.
Promotion valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela. They let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Stricky, you would be proud of me. I just killed a gnat here in the studio. I'm sitting in your spot and I got it.
A gnat or a fly?
It was a gnat. It was a gnat. No flies today, just a gnat.
Boy, I'm like, there's this little room right here. There's nothing in there other than when we have some of our great people like Good Sense or Tipsy Tina or any of them that bring in all the good food that we actually have it in there. So I'm like, why are you in here? And they just be in there flying on the mics and doing. I'm like, you little suckers. I'm glad you got it, man. I'm glad you finally, especially the gnats. They're the little, I just can't stand those little things. They're just so annoying.
I am with you. I was crawling around on the mic stanchion before, and I finally got it off, and then it sat down on the table, and whap, got it. Stricky, I saw you giving a thumbs up and then a thumbs down when I mentioned Caitlin Clark, 66 out of 67 first place votes for Rookie of the Year in the WNBA. Is that because you're mad Caitlin Clark won Rookie of the Year, or are you mad that she missed out by one vote on being a unanimous Rookie of the Year?
If I didn't have my cigar holder in my other hand, I would have given that 2 thumbs down. I can't even. Matter of fact, and I'm gonna tell you, I want to know who the one vote was. We need exposure. We need to know who that one vote was, because that was crazy in itself. First of all, it's disrespectful. And I'm going to say it if I could say it like Stephen A. Smith says it, it's disrespectful for what they did and the way they did it. Here's why I say that. It's understandable that in the late part of September, I think the end of September before early October, you announce that Asia Wilson is going to win the MVP. And then for 2 weeks, get off my phone. Okay, turn it off. For 2 weeks, you go through a slew of most improved, all these other little awards and coach of the year and executive of the year. You go all this stuff, and then finally you announce Caitlin Clark, and then it's 1 vote shy of unanimous. Like, y'all are tripping. One, let's be real. There would be no relevancy or even eyeballs. You can just go look at it. She's already surpassed what the finals viewership numbers was, and it was just in her playoff appearance in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are treating her with such disrespect. Players poking her in the eyes, knocking her over, and then look, Draymond Green would have been kicked out by now for the stuff they was doing. He would have been suspended for weeks for the stuff they've been doing to Caitlin Clark. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, I'm not going to say it's similar to Jordan, but in a way, it kind of is. You got to remember, early on in Jordan's reign, they were freezing him out in all-star games. They were talking, they were doing a lot of shady stuff, and it's understandable. But when you've got somebody who can actually take you wouldn't be on a plane right now, on a private plane, if it wasn't for her. There's so many things you wouldn't be on there, and then you disrespect her the way that you did. There's no way. I don't care. You can just go look at the numbers. The numbers across the board. If you go look at every stat matrix, she outplayed Angel Reese. She outplayed Angel Reese in every stat category, and she's a post player, and she had a true shooting percentage and 2-point shooting percentage, where Angel Reese around the basket, I'm talking about around the basket, was still under 50%.
Mm-hmm.
So that, on top of the fact, she was 3-1 against Angel Reese head to head.
Yeah.
Come to the conclusion. Like, I'm dumbfounded. So the fact that happened, it's not surprising. But if Caitlin Clark was to say, peace, I'm out, I'm going overseas, Ooh,
There'd be some people mad at her for leaving that were trying to poke her in the eye.
I mean, look.
They'd be mad at her for leaving, but nobody would watch after that. People are
Nobody would watch
for her.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize that. And there's ESPN analysts that are begging for the it's an anonymous voter. They are begging for that person to be
exposed.
Revealed.
Yeah.
Because they just want to eat them alive. And I want to eat them alive too.
And
Ellie, here's what Ellie, it's just your lookalike. It's not you. We take this pretty personally though.
I
Right?
do take this personally because I just have this deep love for Caitlin Clark, and just over the time that she was at Iowa and now like in the WNBA, I've just watched her and my family has watched her, and just the stuff that I've seen her go through. And then it's just, you get so mad at her for bringing light to the WNBA, and then you're just gonna beat the crap out of her. That's what it was. And I'm seeing all these Caitlin. I did in class. I did a presentation over Caitlin Clark.
Of course, you're obsessed. You're at stalker level. This is
obsessed
scary.
with Caitlin Clark, but Caitlin Clark has looked up to these women in the WNBA for years, and now these women are the ones that are not ruining her, but aren't. I don't think she had as much fun in the WNBA as she thought she was going to have going in, because they were just making it hell for her. And I hated to see it.
Well, for me, it's the level of pettiness.
Mm-hmm.
It's petty wop to the extreme. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to literally say this. This has nothing to do with anything racial. But the issue is they look at her because of her skin tone. And in some ways, in their mind's eye, they attribute this racial connotation to it, which that's not it. It's not it at all, right? It's the fact that she's a 3-level player with high proficiency. It's kind of the same way that people try to, in some ways, look down at Pistol Pete, or they look down at John Stockton, and don't give him the same credit as like Isaiah Thomas. Yes, he's not flashy. Yes, he doesn't do it, but he's just as proficient as a point guard as anybody that's ever done it in the league, right? Same thing. They didn't fully even want to give Jason Williams credit. Sweet white chocolate. They didn't fully want to give, until he just kept saying, "I'm just going to keep busting your." Every week, you just gonna feel the wrath of this. I'm gonna make you look bad on film, and then finally you're just gonna have to give in to the fact. I think that's what's gonna have to happen with her. She's just gonna have to keep killing people, keep showing and proving, and then eventually you're just gonna have to succumb to it. And it's sad. There's just no way that should not have been unanimous. It's sad.
We got 2 Caitlin Clark apologists, defenders willing to burn at the stake for Caitlin Clark, and I'm over here petty wop. I'm happy she didn't get the 1 vote. She went to Iowa. I can't forgive her for that. After everything she did in Nebraska? Absolutely not. I'm glad she didn't get it unanimously, just like Derek Jeter did not deserve to be a unanimous Hall of Famer. I will petty wop that until I go to the grave. Derek Jeter did not deserve to be unanimous. He wasn't. Good player, first ballot, sure. I'm glad he didn't get in unanimously. It probably hurt him because the year before his longtime teammate Mariano Rivera got in unanimously, but I'm petty whopping it. I'm over here petty whopping it. Derek Jeter, I ain't sorry. Caitlin Clark, I ain't sorry. Go win unanimous MVP. Maybe then I'll be impressed. We got some college football to talk in hour 2 of On the Block. You won't want to miss it. Come back with us.
Home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
If you're not advertising your business on your vehicle, you're missing out on a lot of potential clients, and it's time to change that. Automotive Solutions excels in vinyl wraps and company IDs. They offer BG services with free warranties available, and they service all cars and diesel trucks too. They also service fleets, and if you push snow in the winter, get ahead now with your vehicles. Don't forget, ticket listeners receive a service discount on preventative maintenance. Call Automotive Solutions for an appointment at 531-249-5600 and stop by at 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love. Order online or on our app.
Hey, Nebraska football fans, it's defensive lineman Ty Robinson, and I've got a winning play for you with Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Team up with Action and install a new Bradford white water heater in your home. And if we win the conference championship this season, you'll get a full refund. Don't fumble this opportunity. Sack your old water heater this season and score big with Action. Visit actionlincoln.com/Huskers to learn more.
Promotion valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we want to thank all of our customers for a great September. And now it's time for our annual Halloween sales event happening right now at Koppel. Get 0% financing at Koppel. You heard right, 0% financing on select new models. Also, huge discounts up to $11,500 are available. It's our annual Halloween sales event. Get $11,500 off or 0% financing at Koppel. So please stop on by or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did 0% with roof credit.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Hey guys, it's Nick. Join me and Jay Foreman this Friday at 8 p.m. from Seacrest Field as Grand Island takes on Lincoln North Star. The Gators are 4-2 on the year and led by head coach James Thompson, while the Islanders are still searching for their first win of 2024. Kickoff is slated for 8 p.m. with pregame coverage starting at 7:45 p.m. It's the Islanders and the Gators this Friday on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome in hour 2 of On the Block on a Friday. Feels like it's been a fast week for me. Granted, I was here for about 2.5 shows. Glad to be back here in the saddle. Unfortunately, I'm not getting to see my partner, but he's with me remote. The one, the only, the Husker Hall of Famer, the 9-year NBA vet, the man, the myth, the legend, Eric Strickland. Stricky, you shouted out Good Sense before. I want to shout him out again here at hour number 2. 5 Lincoln locations. And don't worry, Stricky, I remembered the assignment. Your sandwich has been properly distributed as you request.
Thank you, my guy. And because we have a little barter system that's going on with the exchange of that, and so that's important that my boy takes care of me on that. So I appreciate it.
It's what I'm here for. Least I can do. It's the least I can do. We're diving into some college football here, Stricky.
Yes.
The biggest matchup of the weekend. Number 2 versus number 3. It'll be Ohio State undefeated at Oregon, also undefeated. Both of these teams are 5-0 right now, as well as a 2-0 record in conference play between both of them. Strick, I think the traditional Big Ten angle to take to start things out would be Ryan Day, 61-8 in his career. But here's the thing, 3 losses to Michigan and 1-6 against college football playoff caliber teams. Strick, Ryan Day, to me, kind of feels like modern day Tom Osborne. And I don't say that lightly, right? I'm not trying to be blasphemous. I'm not trying to be slanderous. Elite record, has gotten to big bowl games, loses to a rival maybe a little bit too often, and hasn't won the big one. Now that Ohio State's 5-0 and they're facing their first real road test of the year, is it now or never for Ohio State? Is it now or never, more specifically, for Ryan Day?
So here's also another one, is that they're 1-3 in college playoff, the times that they've been to the college playoff as well. So they're 1-3 there. Mm-hmm. So the thing about Ohio State is they have a way of dominating lesser competition. They have a way of steamrolling opponents that don't measure up or don't mount up the same type of muster in presenting themselves as a juggernaut on the field. But when they face the juggernaut, the issue comes, they take L's. And so in some ways, it's a little bit different, than an Urban Meyer, or the likes of them in the times that they were there, right? And so right now, there's been a shift of power. Pac-12 power has now entered into the fray. And we saw Washington get revenge against Michigan. We know that it's usually the Michigan-Ohio State that everybody has their eye on. And with the power shift, now this is now presenting themselves. The question then becomes, how important is this game? Is it on the level of an Ohio State? Could this put him at jeopardy even more? I mean, there's times where he found himself, not necessarily on the hot seat, but, kind of rumor mill on the hot seat. Is he able to revive the conversation that he's okay? Or does he find himself on the hot seat if he takes an L? Because We know Michigan's not Michigan. They're not the traditional Michigan. So to me, a win against Michigan this year is not going to do anything. It's going to be very similar to what happened when they went and played a ninth-ranked Notre Dame late in the season, got a win there, but everybody's like, oh, okay. Because I think Notre Dame is the beneficiary of, history. You know what I mean? They get a lot of deference because of that. And nobody really was like, oh yeah, he's back. Ohio State's on it. They're on the way. Nobody really felt that. So what does this game do for Ryan Day and Ohio State Buckeyes? Like, how important is a win, or how important is a loss to him in his career there at Ohio State? That's the question.
Yeah, for me, Strick, I think it depends on how Ohio State fans weight the record against teams in the top 5 of the college football playoff rankings, where Ryan Day is just 1-6 in his career, versus how strongly they weight conference and national championships. Because Ohio State hasn't had many cracks in the regular season at top 5 teams, right? Penn State's been borderline. Michigan's been there the last couple of years. But other than that, there hasn't been like a big key, marquee non-conference game or early season conference game against a top 5 team. You're playing all these top teams essentially at the end of the year for Ohio State. So yes, a win over Oregon, I think, would be a good step in the right direction for Ryan Day and the perception of him if he's able to take the Buckeyes on the road and get a win, right? He hired Chip Kelly to be the offensive coordinator. Another year of Jim Knowles as defensive coordinator. Brian Hartline's recruiting prowess finally paying off. I think that Ryan Day has done a good job of making changes that seem necessary, but also not going overboard and panicking with them. So I think that a win over Oregon would be validation for the approach that Ryan Day has taken. And absolutely, we're going to talk about it, if Ohio State gets the job done in Eugene tomorrow, as a monumental victory, as, hey, maybe Ryan Day can finally get over the hump. Here's the national title contender that so many people were talking about before the year. But really, Strick, I don't know if it matters that much for Ryan Day, because I don't know how much it matters for Ohio State fans. They would much rather beat Oregon than lose to Oregon. Absolutely. They would much rather be, Big Ten champions than not Big Ten champions. Do not get me wrong about any of that. It is a proud, bordering on prideful fan base that, thinks it should win every game that it plays. But I can tell you, Strick, even though Oregon is ranked number 3 in the country right now, just one spot behind Ohio State, if you ask Ohio State fans, after the way the last 3 years have gone against Michigan, would they rather win a top 5 game on the road or win the last game of the year? They take the Michigan win in a heartbeat. They would love to beat Oregon. They need to beat Michigan with every fiber of their being. Everyone in Columbus, Ohio, has poured themselves into beating Michigan for the last 3 years. It hasn't worked. If it doesn't happen a 4th year in a row against this Michigan team, that's what they're going to care about. So I think the Michigan win still takes precedence over the Oregon win in the regular season. Let's say Ohio State goes on the road and beats Oregon. Let's say that they lose to Michigan for a 4th straight year. Ryan Day probably shouldn't be gone. I could understand the animus coming out of that fan base. But really what I think Ohio State fans want is a national championship, where a hiccup against Oregon, going on the road against a tough team that seems like it's adjusted pretty well to the Big Ten, at least so far, wouldn't be the end of the world. But if you beat Michigan, if you find a way into the Big Ten championship game and either get revenge on Oregon, or maybe someone else springs up and gets Oregon, you get a new opponent, or maybe you miss the Big Ten championship game entirely. If Ryan Day wins the national championship, pretty much all is forgiven, right? Because you're not going to fire him after winning a natty, even if he loses to Michigan, even if he loses to Oregon in this game or doesn't win the Big Ten championship. And that, to me, is kind of the danger zone that Ryan Day is walking, because his record against this top competition is not great. My guess is Ohio State will be the Big Ten champion. I'm still predicting the Buckeyes to win the conference, which gives them a top 4 seed and probably the number 2 seed right now behind Texas. But if Ohio State drops this game, or they drop a game along the way, and they're not in the Big Ten championship game, they're probably facing, a team that's, they're in the 5 to 12 range, somewhere in there. My guess is they'd be 5 or 6. Okay, well then you win a game against, like you said, a team that you should beat, that Ohio State would be favored against, and then you get into a game where you're the underdog. Whether or not Ohio State is favored or not, it's a top 5 caliber team with athletes like Ohio State, and that's where he's faltered. Regular season matters, but I think the best thing Ryan Day can do for his legacy is find a way to circumnavigate the 12-team playoff and be the first one to lift that trophy at the end.
I mean, I really don't. I don't have anything against what you said there. I can understand even how you've came to that conclusion. But when I look at the landscape of college football, I don't know if Penn State's there yet. I mean, obviously they're the beneficiary of also history and getting off to a great start again. But if you are to say, out of the top 12 teams, let's just even say right now, I don't think this is what it's going to end up being, but let's just say right now, which teams could you say they when they show up, they're better than, and they're not going to be the underdog? Which team do you view them to be the underdog who could challenge them as far as winning a natty, as you said? If you're saying, because I know what you're saying. You're saying because you picked them, you have a great and a high belief that they're gonna be there at the end of this whole thing when it's all said and done. You believe that this team is ready to finally jump the broom and win the natty. You see what I'm saying? So
I
tell me that.
I think there are only a small number of teams that would be favored over Ohio State in a matchup. Texas, I believe, would be favored. They're getting 52 first-place votes to Ohio State's 9 right now. I think the SEC moniker would also favor Texas. I think that Georgia would still be favored over Ohio State. I don't know if I would agree with it, but I could see giving some deference to Georgia. Maybe even Alabama being favored over Ohio State. That one I'm less sold on right now. But maybe at the end of the year, Bama, especially if they finish ahead of Ohio State in the college football playoff rankings, those are the only 3 teams that I could see being favored over Ohio State. The Buckeyes are I believe 3.5-point road favorite last time I checked over Oregon. Okay, so there's that. They're probably going to be favored when they go to Penn State here in a couple weeks. Miami, I think it would be a pretty tight line, but I still see Ohio State getting favored in that one. Then you get down to Tennessee, Ole Miss, Clemson, Iowa State, Notre Dame. Yeah, none of those teams are getting favored over Ohio State. But it hasn't even been, Ohio State is this huge favorite or Ohio State is this big underdog that's not pulling an upset. They've been in some pretty evenly matched games in Ryan Day's tenure in the college football playoff, Strick. I mean, if you look at his 1-4 record in the college football playoff, 6-point loss to a Clemson team that would go on to, I believe, lose to Joe Burrow and not Joe Burrow, to Trevor Lawrence. They lost to Trevor Lawrence, who then lose to Joe Burrow, right? The next year, you beat Clemson, you get revenge for that one, and then you get steamrolled by one of the best Alabama teams of all time in the 2020-21 national championship game. And then the Peach Bowl versus Georgia, that Ohio State had in the bag. Ohio State had that game until Marvin Harrison Jr. got concussed by the stanchion of the goalpost. Georgia makes the comeback. Ohio State's kicker misses the kick. It's not really like Ryan Day's been embarrassed in the college football playoff, right? 52-24 to Alabama. Yes, that is absolutely a black eye and not good for the resume. But a 6-point loss to a really good Clemson team that you make up for with a 20-point win the next year, and then you take the eventual national champs down to the wire. It comes down to a missed field goal that you led most of the game until your best player went out. Ryan Day has not been an embarrassment to Ohio State in the college football playoff. He just hasn't won the big one in terms of the national championship yet. So, yeah, I understand why that's the expectation from Ohio State fans. But at the same time, let's not pretend like Ryan Day is just sullying Ohio State's reputation in the process. He's not choking in big games. He's losing tight games between relatively evenly matched teams for the most part.
Yeah, I feel you. Okay, well, it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to watching that game, to be honest, this weekend. I'll be in Texas, so we're definitely going to have our eyes on that one as well. And a note in that game that has now come out is that Quinn Ewers is back, and he is going to start over Arch Manning. Does that in any way disrupt the flow of what? So there's two questions before we go to break.
I was going to say, let's save that one for the next segment because I think it deserves some fleshing out. I was going to ask you a Big Ten question here, Strick. Indiana is the only team in the conference at 3-0. You have Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State at 2-0. Oregon and Ohio State were the two top picks to win the conference coming into the year. They were picked to play in the conference championship game. Well, they're playing in the regular season. Ohio State does also have Penn State coming up, like I said, in just a few weeks here. Is this, for all intents and purposes, a Big Ten conference championship elimination game? Or can the loser still make it back to the conference championship game, in your opinion?
I would have to look at the schedule, but I still think it's possible. And here's why I say that, because I'm going to throw this question back. I think it's possible, but let me throw this question back. Have you, can you say that in any time I just think this is a crazy year, because can you really say that at any time we've had so many one-loss teams and so many unusual suspects that have propped up, and this early in the season now, I'm talking about this early in the season, not necessarily that there's one-loss teams, but this early in the season, some of the usual suspects are at one loss already. Is that not crazy?
Oh, it's absolutely crazy, Strick. I mean, I think that's something we can talk about next segment too, is the unbeatens, right? A lot of the usual suspects, but some really new names up there as well is providing drama in the race for that last playoff spot, I assume, for really the group of 4 automatic berth. Here are the remaining Big Ten schedules, Strick. I'm going to write Indiana out of the picture. Maybe I shouldn't. We can come back to them later if we need. Oregon's schedule after Ohio State will be at Purdue, host Illinois, go to Michigan, host Maryland, go to Wisconsin, and beat Washington. Is there another loss on Oregon's schedule if they lose to Ohio State?
I don't envision it, because I'm going to be honest. What Dylan Gabriel is doing right now is absolutely crazy. One, super high a completion percentage. If he has that kind of completion percentage against Ohio State, and they're not able to disrupt his flow in any way, because he's using his feet too very well. I mean, we've seen him use his feet at Oklahoma, but he's using his feet, but he's very poised, and he's got great pocket presence, and he's dropping dimes, and he's got a great command of the offense, and he's doing a phenomenal job. I mean, he has to be up there definitely in the top 5, as far 3 even for me right now, as far as the Heisman watch, just by what he's doing. And so I don't see a loss. I don't envision another loss for them. What else you got?
Okay, Ohio State schedule. Obviously, the game against Oregon. Bye week, host Nebraska, go to Penn State, host Purdue, go to Northwestern, host Indiana, and host Michigan to end the year. If Ohio State loses at Oregon, is there another loss on the Buckeyes schedule?
Here's what I'll say. I don't envision it, but if they lose to Oregon and then Nebraska sneaks up and bops them, there's gonna be hell to pay out there in Columbus. It's gonna be craziness. Another red team comes in and kind of, unearths your dominance on teams that are not in the top. Yeah, that'll be something. But I don't envision it. But I just say I got high hopes. I just got high hopes for something crazy. It just seems that this is a crazy year. And for some reason, it just seems that this is just a wild year. And you can't really predict it. You can't really say. Yeah, I can say just in the last 3 years, I knew who's going to be. You just knew. They were just that dominant. I can't say that. I can't say that there's just an outright dominance until I see what Texas does with this OU game, because I don't think OU is OU. So depending on how they do with them, and then still having to work themselves within a SEC schedule. So that's going to tell me a lot. And what this game looks like as well against Oregon, it's going to show where the power structure lies within the Big Ten. And I think that's something to take into account.
Last team schedule to look at here really quickly, Strick. Penn State, USC on the road tomorrow, bye week, go to Wisconsin, host Ohio State, host Washington, go to Purdue, go to Minnesota, wrap up the year with Maryland. Probably the toughest 3-game stretch of the season for the Nittany Lions. Now, road games at USC, bye week, Wisconsin on the road, and then Ohio State at home. If Penn State makes it out of here with 1 loss, they have to really hope that it's Oregon beating Ohio State, right? Because if Penn State's, presumed loss is going to be Ohio State, actually, no, you probably want Ohio State to win this game if let's say Purdue loses to Ohio State, because then Ohio State's in the conference championship game pretty much no matter what. Then you're coming down to Penn State versus Oregon in that second spot in the Big Ten championship game. Which is better for the league, and which would you be more likely to watch? An Oregon-Ohio State rematch or an Ohio State-Penn State rematch in the Big Ten championship game?
I think you would find that the people would be more excited because you're talking cross power structures. You're talking Pac-12, old Pac-12 against the established Big Ten. So I still think that a lot of people don't fully believe. They still think it's Fulio. They still think it's mirrors and masks. They don't, they think it's one of those masquerade parties when you're dealing with Penn State. You don't know which Penn State team is going to show up. You don't know if they're real. You don't know if they're serious. You don't know what's behind the mask. To me, until they really show and prove, I think people are not going to be as excited because there's a feeling that Penn State, when it's time to show up, they just don't show up when it means something. And look, a team like Penn State, to me, until they show me different, could go up to Minnesota and take an L. Like Minnesota has a way of doing that type of thing. Just have some,
USC.
Just add, you know what I mean? They have a way of doing it, and it's not that they're great or they're dominant, but somehow, some way they'll find out a way to throw a wrench into the whole system.
8750 said pretty much the same thing. Stop with Penn State. We need to go over James Franklin's record against ranked teams. Fortunately, we have a break where I can look that up. We'll talk some more college football playoff weekend when we return. We'll get into Oklahoma and Texas. Quinn Ewers back, Arch Manning back to the bench. We'll get into that. A couple other really key, really fun matchups in college football this weekend. Austin, Strick, Ellie on the block right after this.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
The Rabbit Hole Bakery, located at 8th and Q in the Haymarket, is the ideal place for fresh breakfast items or desserts made daily. Cream puffs, cinnamon rolls, carrot cake, sweet potato, pecan cookies, brownies, blondies. Do I need to keep going? What about bread pudding with homemade bourbon caramel sauce? Stop by the Rabbit Hole Bakery at 8th and Q in the Haymarket today to satisfy your cravings. And if you're looking for larger group orders, they do that too. Order ahead on their website at therabbitholebakery.com today.
Hi, I'm State Senator Bo Ballard. I was born and raised right here in Lancaster County. I understand the value of hard work by being involved in our family business. I built my own company, creating jobs right here in our community. Nebraska families and business owners need lower taxes, more affordable health care, and a great education system. That is why I fought for the largest tax cut in Nebraska history. reduce the cost of healthcare, and help pass the biggest investment in our public schools. I'm Senator Bo Ballard, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 5th, paid for by Ballard for Nebraska.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Finger, one love. Order online or on our app.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Couple Chevrolet GMC, and we want to thank all of our customers for a great September. And now it's time for our annual Halloween sales event happening right now at Koppel. Get 0% financing at Koppel. You heard right, 0% financing on select new models. Also, huge discounts up to $11,500 are available. It's our annual Halloween sales event. Get $11,500 off or 0% financing at Koppel. So please stop on by or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did 0% with roof credit.
If you're not advertising your business on your vehicle, you're missing out on a lot of potential clients, and it's time to change that. Automotive Solutions excels in vinyl wraps and company IDs. They offer BG services with free warranties available, and they service all cars and diesel trucks too. They also service fleets, and if you push snow in the winter, get ahead now with your vehicles. Don't forget, ticket listeners receive a service discount on preventative maintenance. Call Automotive Solutions for an appointment at 531-249-5600 and stop by at 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies and light winds and warm temperatures with a high around 90. Tonight, cloudy skies, a low around 55. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies and light winds. An afternoon high around 84. Meteorologist Kyle Fletcher from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Childcare providers know that little kids are a big responsibility, and you work hard to do your best for the families who depend on you. But help may be available. If you own or work at a childcare program, you may be eligible for Nebraska's School Readiness Tax Credit. Find out if you or your program qualify, because in the work you do for our youngest kids, every dollar counts. Learn more at schoolreadiness.taxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation, and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Attention students and anyone else looking for a great deal. Sun Valley Lanes and Games has the ultimate weeknight special. For just $15.95, enjoy unlimited bowling, lucky putt mini golf, and laser tag. Flash your college ID at check-in to receive $2 off your admission. It's the perfect way to unwind Sunday through Thursday nights. Check out sunvalleylanes.com for hours and availability. Sun Valley Lanes and Games, located at 321 Victory Lane.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Talking some college football here during On the Block. Austin Norman and Eric Strickland with you for another 20 minutes or so. We'll go a little shorter in this segment, make sure we get a crossover with the old school crew in here. So 8750 asked, what was James Franklin's record against ranked teams? 3-17 against top 10 teams. Not great, not good, pretty darn bad. In fact, that is a 150 winning percentage. And then he has 10-9 against top 20 or overall against ranked teams. 12-25 overall going into last year. 12-19, so now 13-20 since 2016. Strick, that's not great. It's not terrible. I mean, winning 50% of your games versus top 25 teams is one thing, but I think that 3-17 versus top 10 teams speaks to that James Franklin is having the same kind of issues at Penn State that Ryan Day is having at Ohio State. You can win a lot of games, but not necessarily the right games for where that fan base wants it to be.
Hence why I said what I said, that until this is why you're not going to want to see that, because in a lot of ways in your mind, okay, I guess the best way that I could explain it is similar to how you feel and how the look on the fans' faces in multiple instances when things was bogged down and it wasn't flowing. Little bit, I don't think it was as bad in Illinois, but I saw it definitely in Rutgers, and I saw you could just look at the faces of some of the fans, and they were just like, "Uh-oh, here we go again." You could just see the dejection. And I think a lot of fans entering into that type of scenario with Penn State facing a top tier opponent, you're going to have that same type of feeling. Here we go again. And this is why I don't think you're going to want to see that.
No, I'm with you on that. You brought up Oklahoma and Texas, Red River rivalry at the Texas State Fair. That's this weekend. Number 1, Texas. Number 18, Oklahoma. Stricky, Texas, 14.5-point favorites. But like you said, Quinn Ewers returning to the starting lineup to play for Texas. As a player, what does it mean when a player of that caliber comes back? Is there usually a transition period for a team to reacclimate to this guy? Or do you think Texas will be able to make it look pretty smooth and seamless?
I mean, it's been said, it's been stated, and a lot of people understand that Quinn Ewers is the guy. You know what I mean? That's what they feel. But what happens is, in those type of situations, you have a rally point. You have a rally mentality. You get behind the guy, and then you start gaining confidence, and you start gaining steam. And then sometimes, I'm not going to say this is Texas's case, but sometimes you have that just feeling of like wonder. The cadences are different. You've been hearing a certain voice for a time in the huddle. Now Quinn Ewers' voice. It's not that, but I'm just saying sometimes you can get just this little shift. So if you have some stalls or you have some, just moments where it's just not flowing the way that you normally would see Texas flowing, it could be that. Not that they can't adjust, not that they won't adjust. But here's the thing. Again, there's a difference between professionality and amateur. And when you're a professional, it doesn't matter who's in there because you got a job to do. And you want to have that same mentality in college, but sometimes that stuff doesn't, it's not inbred yet. It's not in you yet because there's relationships that are built differently at the college level, I think, than at the professional level. Because you could be on a professional team, and I can say this just from a basketball standpoint, I might not like everybody that's on my professional team, but when we get on the court, we ride or die because there's a job to do, and I've got a job to do. And in order to retain my job, I better do my job. You know what I'm saying? Whereas in college, that's not necessarily the case. So That's something to keep an eye on, Austin, just to kind of keep an eye on.
If you're Steve Sarkisian, how do you approach the team about it? How do you rep that in practice? Is it just as simple as give Quinn Ewers a lot of reps, or is he still in, kind of quote unquote load management mode where he's coming back from an injury, so you don't want to, work him back in too quickly and just hope your guys remember what it's like playing with him when you get to game time?
It's interesting that you throw him into this type of game. Now, if you're Quinn Ewers, I get it. You're trying to get back because of this is a huge rivalry. You're pushing yourself. Did you push yourself too hard? Are you truly ready? If you're not, I wouldn't step on the field because I learned that lesson as a professional. And again, this is a little different. It's a different mentality. I learned because I had early on in my career still that camaraderie. I'm trying to give everything I got because I just want success with the team. And I wasn't ready to come back yet. And so you think that giving all you got means something, but if you can't perform, it affects you. So that's the thing that kind of gives me a little pause, because you're hoping that he just didn't fly back into getting himself ready for this particular game and is not fully healed and completely ready yet. And that's what you're hoping. It's not the case.
Strick, I had forgotten that this won't be the first time that Quinn Ewers is slated to make a return from injury ahead of Red River rivalry. In 2022, don't forget, Texas had Alabama on the ropes. Ewers suffered that injury to his left shoulder against the Crimson Tide. He came back against Oklahoma later that year, 21 of 31 through the air, 289 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Sooners as he made his return from a left shoulder injury. It is the oblique injury this year. A couple other big games here, Strick. SEC, undercard. Most other weeks it wouldn't be. Number 9 Ole Miss at number 13 LSU. I'm expecting a lot of points in that one, but then Stricky, the nightcap, 9:15 from Boulder, Kansas State at Colorado. Last time Kansas State went out to Mountain West or Mountain Territory, they got smoked by BYU. Colorado, still at or near the top of the Big 12 conference. That Kansas State Colorado game is going to have a lot of eyeballs late at night.
It definitely is, and I'm hoping that Cade Johnson gets to play because I want him to shine against that type of a D-back like Travis Hunter. I want to see that. But I'm going to be honest. I actually am rooting for Colorado, and it's not because I don't like Kansas State. I'm rooting for them because it makes us look good. That bodes well for Nebraska. It has nothing to do with anything else other than the fact that it works for us. You know what I mean?
I get you. Yeah. You still said you're going to root for Colorado, though. That's
not only for us. I want us to look good in all the things that we're doing here at Nebraska. And a win for us, yes. A loss for yes. A lot of people are rooting against. I'm not rooting against them. I'm rooting for Huskers. And I'm rooting for all teams that the Huskers have played. Now we know UTEP is just they're horrible, but I'm still rooting for all teams, and to include Illinois, just continually just ravaging through the Big Ten. Because if they beat us, I want to see them continue. I don't want to see them fall off. I don't want to see them take L's. I want it to bode well for us that we lost that game.
Thomas and Lincoln, bleep you, Stricky. Thomas and Lincoln disagree, Strick.
That's fine. That's fine, and I'm okay with that. I'm not rooting for them particularly for any other reason, just for the Huskers' sake.
Fair enough. Stricky, we'll throw it to break here. We won't keep you for the crossover. Get packed. Safe travels, my friend. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, love y'all on the block, man. We'll see y'all next week.
We'll go to break, crossed over with Old School. That'll be the end of On the Block for the week right after this.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, We're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raising Cane's, Perch Merch, Sunbelt Rentals, Mullen Motors, Select Plumbing, and the Kindler Hotel. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 7th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Hey guys, it's Austin with 93.7 The Ticket. We've got a full Sunday of NFL action for you here on our airwaves. Starting at noon, we've got an interleague game between the struggling Cleveland Browns and the up-and-down Philadelphia Eagles. The afternoon game kicks off at 3:45 from Dallas, with both the Detroit Lions and Dallas Cowboys putting their two-game win streaks on the line, looking to make it 3 in a row in a key NFC playoff picture matchup. You can catch all the biggest NFL games right here on Lincoln's home for the NFL, 93.7 The Ticket.
The Rabbit Hole Bakery, located at 8th and Q in the Haymarket, is the ideal place for fresh breakfast items or desserts made daily. Cream puffs, cinnamon rolls, carrot cake, sweet potato, pecan cookies, brownies, blondies. Do I need to keep going? What about bread pudding with homemade bourbon caramel sauce? Stop by the Rabbit Hole Bakery at 8th and Q in the Haymarket today to satisfy your cravings. And if you're looking for larger group orders, they do that too. Order ahead on their website at therabbitholebakery.com today.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today. If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Child care providers know that little kids are a big responsibility, and you work hard to do your best for the families who depend on you. But help may be available. If you own or work at a child care program, you may be eligible for Nebraska's School Readiness Tax Credit. Find out if you or your program qualify, because in the work you do for our youngest kids, every dollar counts. Learn more at schoolreadiness.taxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation, and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Greens at 402-467-4444 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-4444.
Early break.
Anthony in the mailbag says, good morning, guys. Question for the mailbag. If you were trapped in a 10 foot by 10 foot concrete room with one animal, what is the largest animal you could kill with nothing but your bare hands?
I'd like to think I could whip an ostrich.
He's going to whip him around. He's going to whip him around.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back one final time here during On the Block for the week. Austin, Norman, Ellie still with you. Joined now by the Honorable, all rise, Jay Foreman.
Oh, look, that dude even looked out of his car, man. Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah.
He gets it.
And he's got his Eclipse sunglasses on, so we got to give him some love.
So since you are the Honorable Judge Foreman, do you need a gavel or are you just going to do your Brian Kelly?
Halloween's coming, man. I got a couple ideas.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. I always think I might want to be like The Rock or something, but I'm just not in that shape. I'm not that type. I'm not in shape. I always have a goal that I might want to be like a WWE guy. I can't do it.
Is The Rock family? That's Miami.
He's, for me, this is family, but not
extended.
Yeah, he's more family with my dad. They all are brothers. They're a band of brothers. So are we here in Nebraska. Well, we fight all the time.
What? Okay, I assume you're going to say Nebraska. Outside of Nebraska, which school's football alumni are like tightest family?
Ooh, I'd probably. Well, I'm sure. Like I know Oklahoma is. That's for sure. Obviously, Miami. I'm sure Notre Dame is. I know a lot of guys. They're pretty tight. I think a lot of them are pretty tight. Like I know Florida State's are. I'm sure Texas for sure and Texas A&M. They're all pretty tight. But I think Miami is just different. They're just wired different. They're just different. It's not a bad thing.
Is there like a level to Miami where as long as you played for Miami, you're part of the family, but if you played for Miami and you're from Miami, is that levels?
No, that's the great thing about it. At least when I was down there, once you in. And they tight, boy. Them dudes is tight. And it does, when I went down there for my dad thing, you had my dad who's 73, and Mike Rumpf was there, honoring my dad, kicking it. Mike Rumpf, there's a drastic, difference.
Yeah.
And then I knew
I'm just picturing your dad like Jeremy Shockey or something.
He was there too.
Nice.
Took a picture with him.
Heck
I
yeah.
played with Jeremy, but he came in there, but that's the thing. Like when they know guys are getting honored, everybody comes. Like if you're in town and you don't go, then it's like, and they regulate each other. It's all respect too, man. It's pretty cool.
The tight families are like nice to hear about, but then there's like the dysfunctional families.
Oh, but they dysfunctional too. So don't worry about it.
So tight, dysfunctional.
That's the way. That's the only way it's gonna be. It's like a family reunion, just like no different than us here in the Huskers.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You got some dudes that need to get donkey punched. Remember Donkey Kong?
Yes.
Hit him on top of the head. Yeah.
So is Brian Kelly the Donkey Kong of college football right now?
Brian Kelly's sphincter muscle is as tight could be right now.
Hey, he's got Lane coming to town tomorrow.
Yeah. So what is 5? Is it 5 o'clock there? Yeah. It's East Coast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 24 hours. And you got Lane coming in. Oh yeah. He's and I'm sure they got recruits in.
Oh, got it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's under some pressure.
Is Lane ever tight like that, or is he just always like too unlocked, too loose?
Lane. Here's what Lane is, man, and I would say he wasn't very likable in high school.
Okay.
I would say this. He was an acquired taste. Now he was a quarterback. His dad is great. I like Lane. I mean, we had some good times as ball boys, man. We did. Lane and we took Felix's rights. Felix Wright let us drive his. He had like a Mercedes, one of those big old like Mafia Benzes, and we were playing like. We blew his speakers out. Dude didn't pay us for. We had to pay him. They used to tip us to do their pads, so we didn't make any money there. Me and Lane had some good times, man. He's a good dude. I think he was acquired taste early, but I think one thing he learned when he went to Alabama and then Florida Atlantic, he just found a way to operate within himself. So he has somebody that he leans on to to really look at it, to really deal with his blind spots. And that takes some humility, man. I mean, you can say whatever you want. You know, I never dive into his personal life or what I talk. I mean, I text him. I get a text from him once a year. That's it. You know, so we're not tight. Yeah, we're not tight or whatever. It might be on social media or whatever. But it takes to go from USC tight end coach to head coach of the Raiders, getting embarrassed. Al Davis embarrassed him, and that wasn't even warranted. Then you take the Tennessee job, and then you get, was it fired on the tarmac? I mean,
that was USC at the tarmac too. Tennessee to USC.
Tennessee
fired at the tarmac.
Fired at the tarmac. And then everybody's talking about, what you got going on outside of the football deal. You go down there, and then you go into the pressure pot of Nick Saban, and then you have some humility and you learn.
You generate the best offenses of the Nick Saban era at Alabama,
and got Nick Saban to get out of his square box. So, but then he learned a lot about himself, and then he addressed it in whatever way he did, and he looks way more comfortable now. Yeah. So you're getting the best version of him. And so Lane is Lane, man. I mean, he having a good old time. He's got 2 beautiful daughters, I think, and they obviously got a great relationship. And his little TikToks are funny, especially when they about to spend his money. And so, that's what you get. But I think that freeness has allowed him to go to a place like Ole Miss and not leave when he could have, because you got to think he was up for the Auburn job. Kind of had his name thrown around for Alabama. So he has learned. So he learned from the Tennessee to USC thing, right? And so he learned, like, hey, listen, I'm not gonna, make the same mistake twice. I'm comfortable here. They like him. He likes it there. Brian Kelly's gonna get some. They're gonna get some work, because I can tell you that defense that they have is immensely talented. I think Perkins is out, the linebacker, right?
Ooh, that'd be a blow. I missed that probably.
The linebacker is out for the year. So that's going to hurt against an offense like Lane's, right?
Yeah, he had his season ended a few weeks ago. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So that second level defender is crucial against Ole Miss, because you got to be able to play mid top down, meaning I need to be able to come out of my hook drops and make a play on a swing pass. I got to be able to be an alley defender on like those screens. And then I got to be a secondary tackler, because they're going to have receivers that are going to make guys miss.
So you need like Patrick Queen.
Exactly. Well, their Patrick Queen is gone, because this dude Perkins is supposed to be a first-round pick. He's a 3-level dude. He can cover, he can play the run, he can rush, and he's out.
Yeah.
And so I guarantee you're going to see Lane attack that middle of the field, or that middle of the field defenders multiple times tomorrow.
Last thing before we get you to old school. Stricky said he's rooting for Colorado over Kansas State.
I can see it. Yeah, I see it.
But he said it out loud.
Well, did you ask him a question? At least he answered it, right?
I said, Strick, it should be an interesting game. We got Kansas State going to Colorado. And he said, yeah, no doubt about it. I'm rooting for Colorado. Like, no hesitation.
Yeah, there's no reason to root for Kansas State, is there?
But not to root for Colorado. Not to come out and say it like that.
Well, here's why you want to root for Colorado.
I know it makes Nebraska look better. Like,
there you go.
I get it, but
you got to. You need it. Well, we beat
Colorado.
Look, we beat you. Now we need you to take that butt whooping and learn from it and play better. They did. Good job, little buddy. You're so cute down there. That's what they see.
You took your lesson. You moved on.
Aren't you cute?
They're there.
Yeah, little buddy. You're right. You've been there. Hey, listen, you go to Colorado, you're just like this. It's my little buddy. Isn't he all grown up? Yeah. Remember you put you in the headlock, nudge you a little bit? Yeah.
My buddy Dion.
Yeah.
He's cute. He's learning.
My buddy Prime.
He'll be something someday.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? and his 3 little cousins.
That's awesome. What do you got coming up on Old School here for the next couple hours?
We'll talk a little bit of more college football, big games. We'll got you back, so we'll dive into that. We're gonna just a little snapshot about Indiana.
Whew.
Those Hoosiers are a little sneaky.
Haven't trailed yet.
Yeah, and I got to do what I don't want to do, right?
I know.
That's travel with Nick.
You get to.
I do. I have to.
That'll be fun.
It's like a little brother that I ain't want, man. Yeah,
They're there. Okay,
Jay,
buddy.
what time is the flight? Do you got the rent a car? Yes, Nick. I'm 48 years old. I can rent a car.
I'm a man. I'm 48.
You're right. I can do it twice, Nick.
There you go.
What about you, buddy?
That's awesome. We will pray for Jay. We will expect the travel vlog coming out here in a couple of weeks. Old School comes your way here in just a little bit, just a couple minutes. Big thanks to Nebco for sponsoring On the Block. Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Hi, I'm State Senator Bo Ballard. I was born and raised right here in Lancaster County. I understand the value of hard work by being involved in our family business. I built my own company, creating jobs right